a stadium seating arrangement. And there was something on, I can't remember what was on the screen, but I remember turning to my left and seeing Michael J. Fox. And it was odd because he had a very strange, parted over sideways, a long haircut, which is not his normal cut, which is typical of clones, because when you come out of the cloning tube, I guess your hair is just extremely growing, it just keeps growing. And when they're there, I guess they just part it how they can to deal with it. They usually put me in the MK Ultra scenarios, drug me, and it's usually like a horror movie, running from something or trying to fight something. It's pretty much a terror scenario, and they're probably sitting watching in the stands for entertainment because they're bored, sick people. Now, I'm not trying to scare you. I don't want money. I don't want to be famous. I just need to tell people about this because there's a lot of people who can't say anything. Celebrities won't say anything. Musicians, athletes, they all have this happen to them, and they can't say anything. They'll be remotely killed if they put an electrical charge to your clone. You will have an aneurysm or a heart attack in your real body. It's what happened to Bernie Mac, pretty much. He was tortured. He stood up to Donald Marshall and he's tortured so bad. Aneurysm. One of the things that happen to me is usually a scenario of some kind where I'm just, what I remember, I'll just tell you, is it's just like a horror movie. It's probably all fake, but that's what I saw. It was, the horror movie character Pumpkinhead. Well, me and a bunch of other people were pretty much trying to kill this thing and stay alive. I had a revolver. I just remember shooting, reloading, running, and eventually we killed this thing. Well, they had the typical horror movie false ending, and like 5 or 10 more of these things came out. Yeah, it was messed up. And also, last night, I should tell you, and I hope it wasn't me, I hope it wasn't real, but I remember driving away from something, and I remember seeing something ahead of me, driving a car, and it was police officers in riot gear, and I drove through them, and then I woke up, and sometimes they take consciousness and put it in a clone, in a place, and have you run that person just to have an event or something. And I hope to God it wasn't me that ran out people. I hope it was fake. No, this happens to me pretty much every time I go to sleep. Sometimes I can remember, sometimes not. They can repress certain things in your memory and let you remember other things. They've got the brain completely figured out. I only know this stuff because of Donald Marshall, and he needs to be known about. People need to know about his information. It's extremely important. And rem cloning needs to stop. They need to stop taking people, and They steal their ideas, they torture them there, take their ideas and use them themselves to make money, hold people hostage, and just, there's nothing you could do, really. Just this needs to stop. I want to talk about this. I have to. And yeah, cloning's been going on for a very long time. It needs to be stopped. There's good reason for it. The body parts grown for, say, replacing somebody's internal organs or something, it wouldn't work. The cloned organs degenerate too quickly. They're grown too quickly and they break down. So they're not even good for replacing your heart or whatever internal organ you need replacing. There's no point to it. The rich, inbred, cannibalistic pedophiles that run this planet, the billionaires pretty much. Pope Ratzinger, who's still the Pope. Pope Francis is just a figurehead. Proper relations say, we know Elizabeth, Vladimir Putin. China, runs some Arabs, and Russia are pretty much preventing this mandate. They don't want to end this. China has done so much badness to their own people. So does Russia. This is just needs to end, and I'm not sure what else to say, but it's really annoying and unsettling and unnerving to be harassed while you're sleeping. No one to do that needs to stop. Thank you for your time.
That was one. Let me go to the next one. Cloning.
I can't believe this is happening to us.
But I'm very earnestly about clone experiences at Center.
Hello, Phil Chuba here, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about what happened recently to me at cloning. And a little background is REM phase cloning is they take your consciousness while you sleep and put it in your lungs. And so you're in the REM phase of sleep. And you have to stay there until you wake up. They tell people a lot of different BS. It's the fifth dimension, seventh dimension, Nirvana, Shangri-La, time stutter, singularity. They say that another dimension, or that it's lucid dreaming, or the astral plane. It's not. You're just in a cloning center, and there's MK Ultra visual and audio effects to make you see what they want. Now, they've been doing this to me probably my whole life, but now they see me talking to Donald Marshall, and I go to the same cloning center he does now. And I know it's real because one time I've seen the seating arrangement, the stadium seating around a extremely large widescreen, and it's real. I don't know what to tell you. But what's been happening to me is the other night I had two experiences. One, I woke up and went to another one. So I went back to sleep. The first one was, there was something going on where I had a mission or task, and I was flying a plane. It's very vivid, very intense. Never flown a plane, and I was going to a stadium to try to prevent something. And with me was actress Ellen Page. Now, I don't know if it was really her, but she called me, and the plane went down. We got another plane, propeller plane, and I was flying it, and it was extremely intense, avoiding buildings and things to try to get there. And we got there, and I had to get in security, and she helped me out and get in there. And I don't remember if I achieved a goal or whatnot, but it was very intense, and I never just have dreams about celebrities. I don't think they're all that great anyway. And I woke up from that and stayed up for a few hours, went back to sleep, and they put me in another one. And it was in my room. There's stairs going down steps, and in the scenario they put me in, the steps kept going down to a vast underground labyrinth. It looked like something what Dylan Marshall explains as underground with deep underground military base with computers. It was vast. There was like elevators, different doors, long hallways, and there was these people, these four women, and they were trying to go on the computers, and I had a feeling for some reason that they were trying to alert the government or something, and I kept grabbing them and taking them off the computer and say, tell them to stop. And we were walking through the vast labyrinth of doors and elevators, and into one elevator, something came out of it. Can't remember what it was, but then I turned and I saw a team of, I said this out loud, it's a CIA. I don't know why I thought that was a team of, they had riot gear and type of Black Ops wear on, and one of them was laying down, and I saw who seemed to be the leader of it, and he didn't have a helmet on. It looked just like that actor Scott Wolf. This was on different shows. He was on Party 5, I think, first. And anyway, somebody and they took a long needle, long needle, connected to a tube, and they jammed it in my lower left abdomen, my stomach, on the left side. And it hurt. It hurt a lot. It's the first time I felt pain there. And they started to suck out my blood or fluid or whatever through the tube, and I could see it. I could see it coming out. And man, that really hurt. And I just thought it was weird, and then I woke up. It's the first time I felt pain there, and it was a really vivid scenario. I blur, I'm not sure what happened. That's what happened the previous night. And we made no earlier about no bullshit body snatching. Okay, thank you. Hello, my name is Aljuba, and I'm going to talk about a crime in the world right now, probably, is body snatching. by Vril parasite and by well, Vril action is called voting. First of all, Vril is what the Illuminati generally use to take over people and make it easier for them to do what they want. Vril are underground reptiles that create humans, and Vril type 1 are about a foot tall, with eye stalks and reddish scales, different colors, different regions. They have they're just dumb reptiles, smarter than chimpanzee, but they're not as smart as humans. They have a compulsion to body snatch other living creatures, and they prefer humans because it's their best quality of life they can get. Now, they have a proboscis that comes out of their head, top of their spine, over, comes out, and a little worm kind of thing wriggles out, and the person or whatever would need to be immobilized, need to be drugged or tied up, and or you just push away. But how they do it is it's parasite biology. It is not mystical, magical. It is not like latching on to your chakra or whatever. It is a parasite biology. It proboscis comes out of the spinal column. There's a protrusion. It comes straight up, and like a worm little thing comes out. It does not go into your eyeball. It goes against your eyeball and worms its way under the eyelid and around and back to the optic nerve, where it circles several times going towards the back, towards your brain. It circles the optic nerve several times, which is where the picture of the medical industry comes from, with the snake curling around with a pole. So it comes from. And it circles the optic nerve until it reaches the back of your optic nerve, and it releases the spinal fluid that contains the parasitic cells into your brain. And the person dies. The person's consciousness dies. In there somewhere, the person is not temporary. It's a permanent transfer, one way, for the lizard and the poor creature. And releases the parasitic cells in the spinal fluid. Horribly painful, and the person dies and the parasite dominates. It's not symbiotic. Domination. And the Vril parasite takes over the human body. And it takes about a month for them to adapt and recall memories and learn to mimic that person's behavior. And it becomes a parasite host or a drone, they call it. Now, drones don't have lizard eyes, they don't have slit eyes, and they don't morph back and forth from lizard person. It's one way, the lizard's body dies, and the human consciousness dies. And after a month of not doing much, just adapting to the body and learning to mimic that person's behavior, they live the rest of their life in your body. Takes your friend, say, and you're talking to them after they've been drilled. You're not talking to your friend, you're talking to the thing that killed your friend, to take his body and use it. No. This was the biggest secret in the world until Donald Marshall broke it, because there's a lot of disinfo with David Icke and others that say, don't talk about this. Well, the one guy talks about this, that's Donald Marshall, and now I'm trying to help it. The drone have no sympathy or empathy for anyone but themselves. They fake it well. And there's no physical way to tell. There's no smoking gun of, oh, he turned into a lizard. None of that. That's fake. The eye slit thing is fake. You can have that reaction by overdosing on antibiotics. Like the Jim Johnson football coach broadcasting in the Super Bowl, that's an overdose of antibiotics to get that slit eye appearance. And they can fake sympathy, but they don't care. They don't care about anything but themselves. They don't care about each other even. They just want to be the top level creature they can drone and live as that. They're a parasite. They have a compulsion. They have a sexual compulsion to drone people. Now, there's not many ways to tell once that happens. Like, they can't understand dry humor. And if you're lucky, the droning process of going in around the eyeball will rip the eyelid on the outside or the inside, and one of the eyes will appear different than the other, or it'll be swelling, swell out. Hi, Mano, and from YouTube, and why do you think he wears the shades all the time? Also, the singer from Radiohead, that's not a lazy eye, he's a drone. Also,
The cloning centers.
they have erratic type of behavior. They need handlers around usually so they don't go off and bite someone on the face or something stupid. They're smarter in a human, but they're still not as smart as the original human. And it's the worst thing. There's a lot of drones in the world, but there's still more humans. And they fear people knowing this. Now, that messed up eye thing is not common. They use young, immature, real type 1 to drone people, ideally. So smaller plastic, less chance of the eye being messed up. The only way to tell for sure is an MRI or CAT scan of the brain, looking for the front of the brain, no brain activity in the front part of the brain. Same thing as you see on a serial killer. That's not human behavior. That's either mind control or one of these things. And the drowning process will kill the front activity in the brain, and you can see that in the MRI or CAT scan. Now, this is the worst in the world because there's no going back, the person is dead, and the thing is there are no good hosts, there are no good drones, because they kill that person in order to take his body. It's not like the movie The Host where, oh, it's a good thing and it's symbiotic. It's not. They're inherent murderers. They murder to take that body. And same thing with an animal, with a horse or whatever. You drone a horse, you get a smarter horse. Cats, dogs, whatever. Now, this needs to be known about. This needs to be stopped. They need to be eradicated. And they don't want that. They will beg and cry and plead for sympathy like a human would, but they're not. They're just trying to maintain self-preservation. Horrible parasitic lizards. They're not mystical creatures. They're just lizards with parasite biology. Now, they call their nicknames like Medica, Demon, angels, or I mean, they have so many names, like a gin, or different countries have different names for them. And their history of them has been removed a lot of time by hosts throughout the years, but you can still find it. The Eye of Horus symbol with that stupid line going off, curly line, and the one going straight down means the curly one is the proboscis going in the eye, and the one straight down means the overflow of the spinal fluid coming out. And in the Egyptian times, they would leave that on the face as a religious symbol. Now, it's not, it's just a parasite, but that what they did at the time. And the Eye of Horus symbol is not the pineal gland bisected. It's not. It's this parasite. Now, I have to cut this off, but I'll talk about microchip implanting on the next one. Thank you.
We'll find that one now. This is getting interesting. Put it past and Westfield, where it talked about soulstone and microchip and body snatching. Just talked about cloning his experiences and to experiences, race cloning. He's talking about his experiences because of Don Marshall. Didn't go to the one that it was exactly spelling I just play for him. Let's see, there's bio and pasta, host the bio going. I'm not sure that's the one. Just figure out microchip.
Hello, my name is Chupa, and I am a victim of human cloning, REM cloning. I'm not a clone. REM cloning is when you sleep, and in an hour and a half to 2 hours you hit REM sleep.
Yeah.
And during this time, the Illuminati have a technology that can take your consciousness and put it in a cloning center in a deep underground military base.
Okay.
And all those military bases have a floor for cloning, also gene splicing, different floors for different things. And I've seen it. It's, as Donald Marshall describes, a stadium seating section in front of a big screen. And he needs help. Donald Marshall needs help with this. He needs people to know. And the biggest problem is also beyond cloning. It's parasite body snatching by frill lizards, which have a parasite biology. Also, there is body snatching by microchip, which many of the governments do, and it's a similar thing to parasite body snatching. And the friller lizards, which predate people, and they have a parasitic biology, which is to body snatch other organisms, animals, humans, whatever. They prefer humans for the best quality of life they can get.
And how they do this is they have a proboscis that comes out of their spinal cord from the top of their head, and it has a parasitic worm, or it's best described as a worm that comes out of the proboscis and goes into your eye.
Yeah, that's
Goes
the one
in
that was brown,
around the
right?
eyelid, inside the eyelid, and
So, let's go to Donna Marshall. See what one makes of this. This is another one of this one. No, the one about, no, this one, I don't think I covered. How Dark House of Our Grown Pictures go.
hello, my name is Phil Chupa, and I'm going to talk about the biggest problem in the world right now, probably, which is body snatching by real parasite and by microchip. Well, real body snatching is called droning. First of all, the real is the Illuminati generally used to take over people and makes it easier for them to have the people do what they want. The real are underground reptiles that breed humans, and the real type 1 are about a foot tall with eye stalks and reddish scales, different colors, different regions.
Sounds ridiculous, but who knows?
They have they're just dumb reptiles. They're smarter than chimpanzee, but they're not as smart as humans. They have a compulsion to body snatch other living creatures, and they prefer humans because it's their best quality of life they can get. Now, they have a proboscis that comes out of their head, the top of their spine, over, comes out, and a little worm kind of thing wriggles out, and the person or whatever would need to be immobilized, need to be drugged or tied up, and or you just push away. But how they do it is parapsychology. It is not physical, magical. It is not like latching onto your chakra or whatever. It is parasite biology. It proboscis comes out of the spinal column. There's a protrusion that comes straight up, and like a worm little thing comes out. It does not go into your eyeball. It goes against your eyeball and worms its way under the eyelid and around and back to the optic nerve, where it circles several times going towards the back, towards your brain. And it circles the optic nerve several times, which is where the picture of the medical industry comes from, with that snake curling around the pole. That's where it comes from. And it circles the optic nerve until it reaches the back of your optic nerve, and it releases the spinal fluid that contains the parasitic cells into your brain. And the person dies. The person consciousness dies. You're not in there somewhere. The person is not temporary. The permanent transfer, one way, for the lizard and the poor creature. And these are the parasitic cells in the spinal fluid. Horribly painful, and the person dies, and the parasite dominates. It's not symbiotic. It's complete domination, and the real parasite takes over the human body. And it takes about a month for them to adapt and recover and learn to make that person's behavior. And becomes a parasite host or a drone, they call it. Now, drones don't have lizard eyes, they don't have slit eyes, and they don't move back and forth from lizards. It's one way, the lizard body dies, and the human consciousness dies. And after a month of not doing much, just adapting to the body and learning to mimic the behavior, they live the rest of their life in your body. Like you take your friend, say, and you're talking to him after they've been drilled, you're not talking to your friend, you're talking to the thing that killed your friend, to take his body and use it. Now, this was the biggest secret in the world until Donald Marshall broke it, because there's a lot of disinfo with David Icke and others that say that don't talk about it. Well, one guy talks about this, that's Donald Marshall, and now I'm trying to help it. The drones have no sympathy or empathy for anyone but themselves. They fake it well. And there's no physical way to tell. There's no smoking gun about turning into a lizard. None of that. That's fake. Actually, it's fake. Have that reaction. Overdose on antibiotics. The Jimson can be bold. That's an overdose of antibiotics. And they can fake them. They don't care. They don't care about anything but themselves. They don't care about each other. It might be top level. They can drone and there's that. They're of compulsion. Sexual compulsion to drone. Now, there's many ways to tell once that happens. Like, you can understand humor, and if you're lucky, the only process of going around the eyeball will rip the eyelid on the outside or the inside, and one of the eyes will appear different than the other, or it'll be swelling, or it'll swell out, or sink in. Like, hi, Bono, and from U2, and why do you think he wears the shades all the time? Also, the singer from Radiohead that's not Lazy Eye, he's a drone. Also, they have erratic type of behavior. They need handlers around usually so they don't go off and bite someone on the face or something stupid. They're more than human, but they're still not as smart as the original human. And it's the worst thing, there's a lot of drones in the world, but there's still more humans. And they fear people knowing this. Now, that mapping is commonly use young, mature, real type 1 to drone people, ideally, so the smaller boss has less chance of the eye being messed up. The only way to tell for sure is an MRI or CAT scan of the brain, looking for the front of the brain, no brain activity in the front part of the brain. Same thing as you can see. That's not human behavior. Either mental or one of these things. And the drone does kill activity in the brain, and you see that. You know, it's the worst thing in the world because it's looking back, the person's dead, and the thing they're no good hosts, they're no good drones, because they kill that person to take his body. I like them in the host, well, it's a good thing and symbiotic. It's not. They're inherent murderers. They murder to take that body. And same thing with an animal, with a horse or whatever. You drown a horse, you get a smarter horse. Cats, dogs, whatever. Now, this needs to be known about, this needs to be stopped, they need to be eradicated. And they don't want that. They beg and cry, plead for sympathy like a human would, but they're not. They're just trying to maintain self-preservation. They're horrible, parasitic lizards. They're not mystical creatures. Lizards are now, they've been called many nicknames. Economica, demon, angels, or so many names like Jim, different countries have names for them. And their history of them has been multi-hosts throughout the years. You can still find it. The eye of Horus symbol with that stupid line going off, curly line, and then the one going straight down means the curly one is the proboscis going in the eye, and the one straight down means the overflow of the spinal fluid coming out. And in Egyptian times, they would leave that on the face as a religious symbol. Now, it's not, it's just a parasite, but what they did at the time. And the eye of Horus symbol is not the pineal gland bisected. It's not, it's parasite. Now, I have to this up, but I'll talk about Margaret planning on the next one. Thank you.
Wow.
The current threat level is critical, meaning an attack is imminent. Civilians are advised to stay in their homes. Let's boost BQ. Must fear. Here's the mind killer. Here's the that they still perish. This I'll permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has come past, I'll return the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear goes, there will be nothing. Oh, no.
And both first is the organization. That's what I go by. That's what police and PD know me as. That's what I use. Yes.
So what's going on tonight?
Well, we're out here like all the other law enforcement agencies trying to catch the person responsible for shooting up vehicles on Interstate 10. And we're going to add a patrol element to it. And we're going to be dressed all in black body armor, carrying semi-automatic weapons. In the shadows at night. Leaving spicy.
We know these people they have your shooter and not somebody trying to knock.
It may have already.
It's in the
Well, that is what Phoenix City and Old Forest did not want to happen when we had our meetings, and it was supposed to get lined out. And apparently, a lot of times things from PIO officers do not get to the officers on the street. That's exactly what happened. Because I also sent an email and it was also forwarded to DDS. And I also spoke to DDS. And again, it's communication there.
Reptilian collective of several branches, reptilian pure DNA, reptoid, human, reptilian hybrid, bird, reptilian hybrid, non-human reptilian, and darker and similar to the original reptilian, the physical summation crystal H2 changes liquid crystal holographic technology to hide the real form. Open your mind.
Probably.
I go back to Freemasonry.
What do you think about all that?
Well, obviously I wasn't happy about it, and I did send Phoenix PD an email after the incident. So hopefully we can do this.
Hi everyone. Wow, it's been a while since I've done this. So welcome to Teal Talks. Is it 3 or 4? 3? I don't know. But welcome to Teal Talks, and it's been a while. There's been a lot of stuff going on and a lot of changes happening. I'm sure y'all can feel it. Lots of energies, and there's going to be even more to come actually. October is really crazy. We're in November now, and all these energies you guys feel, it's going to amplify quite a bit more. So hang in there, and I know there's a lot of people out there who are afraid of what's coming, and there are those of us who are ready for it. That's what we're here for. That's what we came here at this time to do. And some of us remember, some of us may not, but that's what we So, that being said, I personally think that there's really nothing negative. It's just basically, if you have so much fear and so much fear of death, you can leave the earth. I know, and that's just so you know, some people doing that.
Not quite really my thought was there. Okay. Entries. There we go.
And everything, because they have no use for it down there.
Right, so a lot limited.
And there is a lot there. Over the past 32 years, they told me so much stuff. Like, the reason that I know all stuff, after those songs, stuff, everybody thought I was miserable kid. They all wanted me. How do you think these songs? What's your favorite food? What's your favorite color? Anything. Politicians who used to get all the attention and everything, they like on that person. They get to interact with me too. So then at the home center, what they do, sometimes politicians will do a little bit of acting or make lines for movies, and the actors and stuff will be able to have some kind of a say in world politics slightly. Like, it's like a trade-off. Like, it's very boring there. They don't have anything to do. Now, they all use me as, like, the catalyst for, like,
this, they call it the show sometimes. They call it the show. There's nothing to do there. After you've had sex and there's all the sex stuff and you do the fitting stuff, the death force stuff, there's nothing else to do. Like, what do you do after that? Go have some more sex or something? There's just nothing to do. So it's the are there, and it's like the most amazing thing when I made a song of thin arrow and nothing to keep myself from getting hurt. Like, at first, the songs came pretty easy, but they started to double down, they started threatening me, and then that worked. So more songs, and then they started to torture me, and that worked. Dude didn't stop torturing me, some songs, and they just kept on doing that for years and years and years. And it messed up my heart. I didn't even know what was going on in real life.
So can I just ask a question here? One of the things that a lot of us believe is this, obviously, that before you're saying, what you're saying is that a lot of the songs are used by a lot of the people. So you kind of get out and jump. So you saying that's what you've been doing? And basically, yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to it. There's like some inner politics there. Like, they all know, they all want to hit that to get it shut down, but they don't want to stick their own neck out because people have been killed before. So they're using me because in the past I read their whole play Jesus thing, but it was a deception on my part because when they got murdered, that's what wrote me this up.
And so at this point, why did you say that I think you should anyway, Dave Lloyd from the same idea?
I mate. Yeah. Can I just ask my question, Lisa?
Yeah, go ahead, Dave. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't get my head around it. So what you're saying is, if somebody's in bed and they're in REM, rather than sleep, they don't have to go to the clone station. There's something at the clone station that collects on and says he or she is asleep, and that consciousness is transferred to the clone. Is that it? Yeah, no.
That's exactly it. And I'm not sure if a head chip implant is required.
With the consciousness on it?
Yeah, well, no, the consciousness is borrowed because when the person wakes up in their real body, the clone drops limp. It drops limp to the floor. So they always try to stay sitting in the stands because different people have dropped limp, like limp noodle, just right to the floor, and they break their elbows, they crack their head off the concrete floor.
So it's just like outside the film, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly like that. Before Avatar came out, like, I was on both stuff, and to look at an Avatar film based on Mark II or on.
No, some of the people who just sleep as being clones, they'd be aware of what's going on, always have an ordinary night's sleep.
They would have a sleep where they wouldn't remember their dream. They would. I can't remember their last name. Like that for everyone that happens to it. You know, they have the option. The powers be have the option of allowing you to remember this or not. Once you do the awakening, they can't keep the memory from you anymore. It's you get them every time. Every time they activate you, you will remember it the next day. And it's not like remembering a dream, and it's not like feeling like a dream. It's just normal as normal. They give you an injection, make it close, so it'll feel like a dream. But you know, don't walk around yourself on the face. It's just almost crazy. They let me do a bunch of stuff there. Like, they turn my sensors off, let me stab myself up. It's kind of angry. But that's, yeah, they thought I was an ally.
I wonder how much these clones actually cost to make. It must cost thousands and thousands of dollars. I know money's probably all.
Okay.
The thing is, they want that. I'll tell you, it sounds like really odd. It's mostly just maintenance. The thing is, what they used to do, they say they could do it now, but they used to have to get a tissue sample from the person, and they used to have to agitate the tissue and agitate it, and then the white blood cells start to heal. And it just goes and goes and heals and heals and heals until it's a fully formed thing. And it just grows a whole other heel, and then they just tested with it, and they figured out how to into the clone. And so, yeah, it's really far out tactic they got. You wouldn't think they'd have this for like another 500 years.
Okay, so a lot of people in the last why you're here, basically, on a few of the things that you said, and you have actually said that because of what you're saying, because you're saying now that they can actually, because if they've got a clone of you, they can actually apply an electronic current to the head of the clone that will kill the person, yeah? And you're saying that you're trying to learn to you because they yeah?
That was my thought at first, but I found out within last year they wanted me to well, first they wanted me to play fake Jesus for them, right?
Yeah.
And I could never do something like that, to see the world, play with people's religion and things. Like, I don't know if people like on Jesus or anything, like, I think it's kind of silly. But then they're talking to me about things and prophecies. They said that the Nostradamus picture book has a picture of me in it, and it says that the next Messiah's names, initials will be DM, and it's a reference in it to King Dawn and the Nostradamus prophecy. So they're all like, they're super religious out there. Say, oh, wow, we're going to use him for these things, but it turns out he's real Jesus, and if we kill him, it doesn't probably use that God will destroy the earth and this and that. And so they're using that as an excuse to keep me alive because they want it exposed so that the populace will force them to shut it down. Because there's some countries don't want to shut it down, want to keep it going, but a lot of countries don't want to participate anymore.
Okay, okay. So the other way here, many of the leaders, not all, the G20 countries are actually going to these cloning centres, and we're talking a lot of people here, and leaders from also other countries. They're going to what are called these clone gatherings and parties at these cloning centres, and we're talking about people like people that are talking about religion. You're saying that and the one who just talk a bit on that for
No, all the movies and a lot of stuff. So that's what we do. So they wanted me to help them set the whole thing up, how it looked believable. I even told them, because I walked them through a few things before, like I had to, when I remember, like you guys had documents that weren't really, like, possible. But yeah, they all these around the dog there were even the phone shaking around.
Okay.
The cell phone camera shaking around, that was all one bustle, that was all manufactured. They all think they're great actors and stuff. He wanted, Gaddafi wanted to go down. He didn't want to look like Saddam Hussein. He said, and getting his mouth opened up and walking around his underwear and stuff, he said he wanted to go like cool looking. So the blood on the face and everything was a little cut at his hairline. And they did all over his face on the side there, like it was all set. It was all face like that. And from his body now. So it was like basically because he got white was calling like he told him himself like I'm calling too. Like I don't know a lot of the higher up and he's just a Mark II kind. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so again, what you're saying here, again, what I was doing here is that basically, a lot of celebrities, not all, I don't know, a lot of celebrities and people in the public eye are actually all involved in it. They're all going places. A lot of them still have civil clones for the sake of fame. And these clones are in these cloning centres, and then we get these so-called people in power, as you described as these fasted and ugly people, going to these cloning centres that are actually using the clones of these so-called and whatever. Yeah?
And other things.
And just tell me if even video wife.
Well, I talked to her and she was starting her career. Actually, she was being brought there, which was in the Name Club, even. And, yeah, I helped her make her songs, so she did again and everything. And she Well, she let me put hints in the songs with lines and stuff. There's so many, like, and then when I put them out there, it's like, it sounds like it could just be a coincidence. No, it's like, it's time to put these hints. They get pretty mad at me, but they do. So just talk about it. Now bring them all up and, like, I don't know, people whenever I heard say Space is calling, and what song is it that Say It Right, it's called. That Say It Right song, that's all about discos and boom and stuff. They wanted me to talk about them.
We have said a lot, obviously, that a lot of the films and the music have been, and even when you hear the 80s stuff now, when you listen to it back, a lot of it sounds like it's all there to give us a message in big time. And you talked about, and I'm going to play this at the start of my show when I do your interview next week, you talked about Heart, I found the Heart video.
Yep. There's all kinds of them back then. They were all coming at me back after I made like the first 20, then they all started coming. Like there's numerous loaning stations, and certain people go to certain ones in different areas. Like there's like a couple for every state.
Right, guys, we did actually lose connection at that point with Donald, and I thought that was a natural break anyway, so I'm going to play a quick tune. There's loads more to go in this, and I say it's going to take at least one more show to get all of this out, maybe even two more, if I can spread it that far, if you want to hear it for two more shows. But it's amazing information. I think it's certainly worthwhile thinking about nothing else, and I, for one, can believe it. So we do. So we'll start something up right after this. I just want to say, you also mentioned we're in the UK. This decision progress I just mentioned it a lot. I just wanted to see if you just talk about the Queen of all of this as far as you're concerned.
Yep. As I said just before we got cut off there, sure. She used me for a soapbox there. See, with me there, she has really no reason to speak. She's what, 87 years old now. She's in a sex slavery place. You know, they wants to see her in her bloomers. You know what I mean? So it's like hang the teddy up. It's time to go. But she sits up there and she's like, yes, now we're going to bring out Dawn and we're going to do this and that and the other thing. And but if I'm not there, all that she has is she can stand up and do her silly little wave where she turns her hand sideways there. That's all she has. Other than that, she has no reason to talk to her. No one wants to hear. She's disgusting. She's one of the crying evils. The military. William's from every year. Weird.
So when you're saying that the way that I say that because people only say each of them more than is that what you're saying?
Yep. Look, a little bit stay medicated to try to stay asleep a while.
Okay.
She likes being home for the meal. She's, oh my gosh, she's so disgusting. I don't know if they still do. You might have heard about these gold foil babies that people were talking about. They found some digitation. They with seeds and talking stuff. They wrap the bowl. They got this thing of bowl. And then I went. Elizabeth said herself, when she got it done, everybody said you have to eat them shallow because inside the rock, inside the head, inside the chest cavity, inside the rock. So that just like eat the surface, skin, and muscles and stuff. It's like a release. they don't come. Not last or beyond which they like that. Yeah. Because it throws people off the real deal.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my from the resident that you can do the one you being and then just talk about platforms.
Well, the people non-stop, everything that they're back from the beginning, the lines, they're all just inbred people, hardcore inbred people. All people that help live past with all these called real. They'll even have to find victims who, whatever, and in exchange, liz from underground would bring them jewels and gold and everything. They need for down there.
Parasite host, and you were saying that lizards have been around for a long time. And what we're talking about long before even ancient Egypt, and even about how things like the eye of horror is all about lizards. And you're talking about 3 different types of lizards, and they're all coming from these deep underground in the earth. And particularly different types of oxygen, also like a methane-based oxygen. Just tell a little about the background and all of that.
Sure. It's quite a laboratory. They said that this could cause the end of the world. Exposing these things because they're all over the place. That seems in their life. They walk around in public. It's why that Dmitry Medvedev, the Russian guy, was saying that if people knew how many aliens were among them, the world would panic, and and they probably would because it's pretty sick. I met these stupid things when I was a kid there. They hang out in the bases there. They just hang out there. It's another reason why people don't talk about the place, because you don't want to get bit by one of these things, because they got this toxic shit. And one of the most painful things in the world. There's a lot to it. I'd only met the first type at first. They're smaller ones. They grew up to I thought they only grew up to 1 foot, 1.5 feet, but when they get older, they get up to 2.5 feet or something. They got red tail all over their body. They got their head looks like a king crab, and the eyes are on stalks and everything. It's disgusting. They got a built-in sonar. Their real sensors sounded like they're basically control that. Basically, is a clean out evil. They're days or they the concept wasn't birth, so they were affected. And he stayed down there. Can't lose on when low on down there. There's other things down there that intelligence, all prehistoric ground sloths. They eat those things by eating here. And there's a couple weird things down there.
So they touch the mic off again. Yeah.
Well, the sun would blind them, and they're really sensitive, and they're really ignorant. They're parasitic. Parasitic psychology is really cowardly. There's one right there. And hang out with them. The Danish kings, all the Danish kings and everything, that was because they were trading with real lizards from the world and everything. That's why went to the kings got their money. Nobody knows where he got his own money. You know, around all the route. No, we're trading children to live. Man, it's been all around here.
The government and the United States put it on where they people live.
Yeah, and there's another thing they have a unique biological property of their body. Now, it's I know you heard before you have the interview with Vinny Eastler, but they have a thing on the top of their head. It's called they call it the quill. It's a proboscis. It wiggles over the top of their head. Once in their life, it is their brain and spinal column, and it goes around your eye, does a spiral around your optic nerve, all the way with a certain part of the brain. Now, once it does this, if it fails, it's going to die. No, there's no going back in the lizard's body. The lizard's whole body is dead. This is shit figure. So I talked about this one. The optic nerve goes to the place they call sweating quill. It does a certain kind of feeling, and the spinal juice in the spinal column like foams out the top of the little brain part, and they're all parasitic cells, and this goes all through the brain till it changes the consciousness of the patient, and the lizard becomes that person. They used to be called mixed gamers in past different places in the world. It takes about a month's recovery time. Sometimes they say people or something, where they just have to wake up, eat, go back to sleep, or they have stroke or something. All excuses. But yeah, things are called, they call them drones, but I've taken to calling the host because people say drones you mean on in planes, and I'm like, no, they drone you, that's all you drone. You're just a drone. And too many people said the thing about the plane, so I just call them all hosts now. That's what they are anyway. Parasitic hosts.
You've actually said, I think, on a lot of depictions of these so-called lizards have actually been destroyed from ancient artifacts because obviously these drones don't be found out.
Definitely. There's even another factor to it. Well, there are the three different signs. Now, the second type, I've seen them for a long time. They went down there. They're all, what are we going to do anymore? The thing can talk. It's very often talk yet. Like, they're have a tongue that was like they can push on the right, like they push the next one they want. And the vertebrae in the back of the throat has a spike on the front of it. So when they push down on their head, that vertebrae pops totally right goes frontwards. It doesn't detach or anything. It pops out frontwards and it spikes whatever you're going to try to kill or eat.
And so basically the government and humans basically have what you're saying they've been complicit and working with these causes.
Yeah, and there's another thing to it. They have unique biological property of their body. No, it's you've heard of it. They got a thing on the top of their head. It's called they call it a quill. It wiggles over the top of their head once in their life. It is their brain and spinal column, and it goes around your eye, does a spiral around your optic nerve all the way to a certain part of the brain. Now, once it does this, if it fails, it's going to die. There's no going back into the lizard's body. The lizard's whole body is dead. This is the shapeshift right here. This is what everybody talks about, this morph into a human. The thing spirals around the optic nerve, goes to this place. It then does something called sweating the quill. Does a certain kind of feeling, and the spinal juice in the spinal column like foams out the top of the little brain part, and they're all parasitic cells, and this goes all through the brain, totally extinguishes the consciousness of his human, and the lizard becomes that person. They mimics don't past different places in the world. It takes about a month to recovery time. Sometimes they say run a column, where they just have to wake up, eat, or they had a stroke or something, all kinds of excuses. But yeah, things are called, they call them drones. But I've taken to calling them hosts because people say drones mean unmanned planes. I'm like, no, they tell me they're call you a drone. It's a drone. And too many single planes, so it's all hosts now. They're the hosts.
Depictions of these people stories from ancient
definitely. There's another factor to it. Well, there are the three different kinds. Now, the second type, I haven't seen for a long time. They went down underground. They were all asking, what are we going to do? We don't want to tell you that things can talk. It's disturbing. Blow on target. Like, the way they don't have enough. That looks like that they can on the top of their head. They just take a pressure down pretty much. The vertebrae in the back of the like on front. So they push down their head. The vertebrae pops full row forward. Different numbers and spice, whatever is they got really good stars. They don't show color. They got these they got her on and they do like exchange swing spin and I will and probably do whatever going after. Yeah, they're awesome. And then they just can drain that. One's favorite food is goat blood and human blood, early childhood, and solids are pancreas and brain for humans. But I don't know a lot of them. I pretended to like them when I was a kid. Because, man, I couldn't believe it was stuck on me. They were like, me for life. That's a real love. And I'm like, it's no love. It's something you make. They spice things. They made all kinds of spice animals like beaver, moles, and all kinds of stuff. It's disgusting. And, I thought it was another one of those things. But no, they're natural things. Some people have them in religion. They call them fallen angels and demons and stuff, and they're supposed to be protected. And some people said they're different things that are set. The Egyptians said are set. Yeah, it's pretty bad. They're all over the place. Elizabeth helps them find bodies for people. She gets real people brought to the cloning center and eaten by the thing. But the thing is, the reason they like eating kids, they said it's like a lobster. Like, I don't like seafood. People tell me it's all lobster's better. Like, old ones are not as good. The same type of thing with kids. Like, also, they can die if they drain the blood of somebody that has had a certain amount of vaccinations. It becomes like poisonous.
Some of these people have so-called pet lizards, and they actually feed children to them, and because they have to feed them, children have less vaccine in them, which is all really, because they take other people, the lizards get sick because there's too much vaccine in their blood, yeah?
Yep. Like ceremony or something. There will be singing on the person lap, right? And there will be a kill in the middle. And like, I haven't really gotten into it a lot, the whole thing with that, but what they'll do is they'll make the kid, like, not all the kids there are, like, unwilling. Some of them like playing these grown-up naked games, right? And it's all very disgusting. So they'll get this kid out in the center, 5-year-old or something, and they'll be really, how do you call it, promiscuous. They'll act that way, and then they'll go along with it and everything. But then afterwards, they'll say, "You're like, oh, you're a dirty girl." Like that. She'll go, "Oh, I thought that's what we do." No, God wouldn't like that. And then it's like they set up a feigned anger against the kid or something because they don't want to feel bad. they want to dehumanize this kid before they see it get killed so that they won't feel bad themselves or something. Anyway, I watched them get eaten. I tried to no, they were not. They watch it just flop. And you still see everything else. Yeah, they watch that. They watch. Oh, yeah, well, not all of it. They but they're just someone here. And they watch all of it. So it really took control and matters for me there because she lived into my home. Because she always sitting next to me and stuff. She's a hammerhand, and she's literally retarded like 5 times, 5 different ways. From watching me live and I was evil or like
you actually said that the use of things sometimes it's used specifically to reproduce it to places for
yep, well, all of it. They have clone music. I'm the man to life, and you won't be alive very long if you start saying something about cloning station. Like, I don't know what's going to happen now. With the nothing, everybody else is getting confidence now. Well, we all hear now. All the reasons I'm like, Liz trying to threaten people and sound still because she wants to just keep it going. Because she knows she's doomed. She's going to be vilified worse than Hitler. Mm-hmm. You'll see. She said literally there, she carries a cyanide capsule with her. They all do. All the scumbags do. Because they know what's coming. They think a crowd is concerned. They pull their arms off. Like they said, your feelings is close to the ball. And hey, you deserve to get lynched, really. Like, you deserve way worse.
So, can I just ask you one question quickly? Don't forget what you're on the third. Just a question. We'll bounce around 10 minutes, but don't be close and watch. How do we know that these people, so-called family, etc., are not clones? And that if that did ever happen, that they went to go into a clone, how can we be sure of that anyway? You know, it's just so
it is very interesting. And they're always up in the technology to hide everything, right? So I'm not sure if these walk around all the time clones require a chip implant. I'm pretty sure that they do, though, unless they got past that. Like, they're always up in the technology. They used to have to use a tissue sample agitated, but now they can just use blood. And they own the Red Cross. So, like, don't need blood. Don't do. You know, it will go to great lengths to cover it up. You'd have to put yourself in a microscope. Like, unless you're looking at their behavior.
You did say that for these duplication claims, you said that they've been actually allowed, they don't let it out in public safety without handler because the way that they can react, they can actually fight people's faces off, etc., which does remind me of a news story that was very recent here a few months ago about someone attacking somebody and biting their face off.
Yep, they have really weird psychology. They, people say the clones don't have a soul and stuff. I mean, and they don't have feelings and stuff. Me, I feel more emotional as a clone. Everybody does. It's just like the clone is using your soul, but it's flawed at the time. It's like that. They call it consciousness, not soul. But yeah, they really flaw the demon. The kind of everybody cool when they're angry. Are you sorry?
Yeah.
Everybody in our angry. Sorry. Nobody can block, right? But when they're a reanimated dead person, right? They twist it. They come back kind of like a Pet Cemetery movie with Stephen King's movie. Not as bad though, and they don't rot and stuff. But they're angry all the time. They're walking around, they're looking at people, and they're saying, and they have bad side effects. One-track mind. They're not inside anymore. They're weird now. And they're looking around and everybody having fun. And they're like, all these people don't have these impediments and side effects that I have. And they just hate the living. They're like, want everybody else to be like them so that they're not inferior to them or something. I don't know. They kind of tap back at amen. They can't fix technology. The fraud technology with an end. There's no fixing it. They're just trying to though, but they said that they will never be able to fix it. The cells are growing too quickly or something. It takes like, well, I don't know for Mark 4 and stuff, but the Mark 2 clones, they only take 5 months to grow. And they said it's mostly maintenance. It doesn't even cost that much. It's just they set it to growing, and then they have to have someone maintain the tank as it's growing, and change it to different size tanks as it grows. Like Britney Spears put the cloning tanks in her video, the Break the Ice video. I made that song for her called Break the Ice. And then she was happy to put the cloning in the video because she wants out of there bad. Like, she was all for it when she didn't have any money. But when she gets answers, it's like, oh, I don't want to go to the clone center anymore. And they're like, oh, well, too bad. We own you. And she's like, well, I don't want to go on TV or anything anymore. And then trying to kill her. Because we're in Houston for that.
I was going to say that was my next question. You said that there are 2 children in Houston, yeah.
Yeah, and Bobby Brown knows about it. He was sitting there in the crowd crying, watching.
And what about Bernie Mac? You said things about Bernie Mac?
Yeah, he was awesome. He tried to basically save me. Spoke up for me there. He said, we can't be doing this with human beings. You know, this foolishness, right? And everybody's like, well, other people started to join in with him. So Elizabeth put a stop to that real quick. They cut him up for hours. Like, the constant pain on a clone, it's only really efficient if you use electricity, but they could just chop you and chop you and chop you for hours, clone by clone by clone. And they made everybody sit there and watch me chop it all up, as an example, right? And towards the end, he was cursing me out pretty bad. He did. You know, he knew he was going to die because he's not done people before. But, and they don't usually do the chop up thing over and over and over to do this to people. They usually do the electricity. Just put a constant electrical charge on the clone and will die. That's what they did to Tequila to give her aneurysm. But they stopped. They could kill her if you stuck the electricity on. But they stopped. Like, she was looking for more money.
Okay, just to tell you that down, sorry, I'm going to bring back in a minute, but before I do, can you just tell us, for people who don't know who Tequila actually is, and the story that if you want to do it mind?
Who is she? Let's see, washed up porn star. Her Juliet. Half-race celebrity that didn't go best friend, you know, didn't do anything else.
Before you go into the same, she's trying to kill it at one point, that was interesting, yeah.
Well, the thing was, she was there for a long time. I mean, you just never let her family or someone who and then for being safe, they offered her the shot love show. So she did that for the shot love show. And like, okay, well, so we'll give you a job. Okay, so that's shot. Then it's like, yeah, well, I'm not getting more shows. I don't have anymore. And she was really like, she really like, don't look, but during the party killed her, right? Because I guess she had some kind of dead man disclosure, whatever they call it. They denied someone or something. So they didn't want to kill her, but they wanted to shut her up. So they were. She went on a video blog or something. It's gone now, but she went on a video blog that, can someone please help me? Everybody thought she was being like a big drug addict. She goes, can someone please help me? the Illuminati are blasting into another dimension somehow. Queen Elizabeth is there, and she eats people, and there's demons there, and they follow her man, right?
Yeah.
And then that means there's an Earl of the same night, and after that, she had anything else.
Right. I think people probably to go back to the churches because basically we shouldn't do that, yeah.
You said later on, put a glass of water, constant electrical current, and your old doesn't get that long. So anyway, she came. I contacted her because I've met her there. We talked about just living together. And they were all the other ones there. Like, well, I was like, that's their actually told us. And so she comes on my wall there, and she's talking to me and everything. And I'm like, you gotta tell. And she's like, yeah, well, she's hinting and beating around the bush and everything. So then one night, she went on her radio blog there. This is why she stopped talking to me and stopped talking about cloning altogether. She went on her radio blog, and it was supposed to be a pre-recorded broadcast, and it was all very controlled because their interface there down there, there. So two people log in, her goes live and says, "Hey, I gotta tell you guys all about these things called the cloning centers and what they do with children there." Now they listen to that thing, and she said she called it going on a blast. That night when she went to sleep, she got a bunch of lizards on her face, and you are going to go. You're right. She was pretty scared. She said she's fearless, and no, everybody's there. These things she will fear. After that, she unfriended me on Facebook. It was right after her clone radio show. Like, I have it on my Facebook wall. She tells all about it. It was the first time any celebrity did. It was like unprecedented. So then she got threatened. That they said that they would bite her to death and then reanimate her after that and bite her. I've been bitten by the thing before. Taking out bites through the world. And she's like, no, I can't be doing that now. And she went back and sat down and said, but, and yeah, block me. It doesn't want nothing to do now. It doesn't talk to me. Won't answer messages, nothing.
Sure,
Everybody
okay.
thought that I was like, everybody was thinking I was attracted to her or something. I'm not. She stabbed me at that place. I really don't like her that much.
Wait, what did she do? I don't think.
She had in there to talk about, like, she can stand up, look at everybody else, hey, I'm down with tequila, and he goes, yeah, who the hell are you? And, but then she was playing, my love interest for a short time at the cloning center, right? And she didn't even like me. Like, she didn't like anybody. She liked herself. But she was playing along so that she'd have some reason to speak and feel like a celebrity there. So she was bothering me for a while. And then we kind of talked behind the scenes. I was like, look, if you help me, I won't like, sue Daryl. And some people and I'll say I'm crossing that they all that the savior of the world comes back and saves the world with truth and sues all of the corrupt lords and performers for legal recompense more than anyone else has in the history of the world. And they're all
You're saying that's something they follow, which is rather ironic.
major. Only other things from it have happened.
Right, okay.
So, like, they follow it big time. Like, they have a mixed match religion, Luciferianism, Hopi Indian prophecy, Nostradamus prophecy, Revelations, and something else.
But just getting back to the Luciferian beliefs, because I did want to pick on that quickly, and something you said regarding what these people do believe is that these bloodlines actually, obviously, they think they're super inbred with these beliefs, and they think this inbreeding makes them strong, and they think that pedophilia keeps them young, and they think that healthy cycles is bring luck. Yeah.
Yeah, some of them Luciferian thing, if you kill your firstborn son, you'll get fortune from the Dark Lord. Right? Some of them used to, well, I'm not sure if they do anymore, but they used to drone one of their kids that are in the family to prove their loyalty, right? And I don't know, they're going to all be wiped up. Like, it's going to be recycled. It's going to, like, okay, first of all, Parent Constitution officer is not human anymore. That thing does not have it's more than a dog. It begins life as a murderer. It murders your son. It doesn't think like a human. It has a different thought. There are multiple things. They're going to have to get wiped. And they're going to cry. They're going to, no, please don't kill me. I didn't want to bring this human. It's going to look like a Nazi death camp or something. But you got to kill these things because it's bad. Like, every human on Earth knows what a parasited host is. It's pretty much just like the Stargate show. The Stargate movie. It's not like so much other stuff and wormhole stuff. Just the lizards are citizens.
What's talking about the closing?
Not last night, but the night before. And I was there for about half an hour. They were just basically telling me, take some stuff back. Tell everything. Don't follow individual actions there. Close it in the right way so you don't panic.
So you're saying all this is the humanity for leaders we know it. A skeptic of reptilians. The way we use is that be like
that is basically it. There's also a factor to the equation. There's the enemy clone people. Now, the enemy clone people, you don't even have to kill them. You have to get shot down. Like, suppose they have a in their head with their consciousness on it. It's about when they shot it. There's no pain in it. There's someone needs to be existing. The thing with religion, you actually gotta chop that thing's head off. Like, shoot it or whatever. They don't. And almost like everybody else, they don't have superpowers. And they're actually deficient. They're dumber than the Aboriginal. They're having some powers in sales. Like, I'm like, okay. Sperm scales, that's not bad. And could you like, what those sharp scales be? Like a scar, or one scar, anything like what the scales do? They're trying to get, this whole shape shifting thing was promoted by the, let's just say, in the house. The whole shape shift is the transfer of the head. So, the only way we can go to the surface is not by drones and by putting outside inside the house and waiting for them. We wait for the clean to discover the room. Really a part of the living, right? Like a parasite. I call it behind the shadows. They hop underneath the underground. They're going to get connecting holes underneath them, and they all wait on people. And they have little stairs made for the stupid things and everything. They walk right up and they sit around with them. And they're all over the world. They come up and underneath the world. Like the Tibetan monks. They're behind those things. Keeps they're a living sentient creature. And they're living. And they're living. What do they do? Well, they parasite people's head. Well, it must be there for a reason. So ancient, and they should be allowed. Tibetan monks, especially. Dalai Lama knows all about this. He's all about Golden Gilney. said he didn't want to be known as a person that went to the center. He didn't know him as a person that was a real that was a real bad day. Yes. So these are I got some real high technology. Well, it is real good. And then, like one we're done. Back to so those were and that run 3 times like packs very much. The first guns from means the third one was sliced thing was a case I didn't even think we were gonna get. It was like but yeah they oh man. See I thought things makes no edgy because the actual they look like it's crazy. I mean the housing what they're calling around actually because they got a real long like all neck ray looking like I think it was like 8 feet long neck and the neck reduced and they got like a normal neck towards the end. I don't know where it was wrong, but it's short. You had a particular cooldown. And you take your what? Oh, sure. Even have a like a slight high strain or skin on the back. I see. The type ones are covered in skin. Get some down here. These listen, wings. They right there, that wing. That was they put on one. There was different things. They were showing me different ones with 2 hose, ones with 3 hose, and then they're trying to throw right, telling me that this other thing is also a research from down there, the hierarchy down there. They just tell me a lot of BS. What don't you see any ladies? What is means so we see the design come up people different force. Same both you have another force of pump even for issue also an entire forward would be displacing. If we have a cloning for definitely got a form being for like the below the right so this whole thing that's for stuff now is a whole bunch of arguments that it's called I didn't want to become their own agents right or all companies was good to solve secretly on the site we put in these companies so do you think that the actual people that do high and it's not a government that they actually get some sort of buzz out of in the field levels within the people in the auditorium. Sometimes right, so yes, they've done it so much that they discover through trial and error how to psychologically make the desired effect happen, like in record time. Like Stockholm syndrome on a kid, they can put that on a kid like in record time. They know exactly what to do and say. Bring them totally. Totally, they see all the know everything. What they're trying to know is add stuff to the brain, technology to the brain to augment intelligence. Like they have the brain inside now. Like interface, something like interface with the brain. Like some sort of consciousness. Yeah. But the thing is, I mean, what excites these reptilians? What's it all about to them? There must be a payoff for them somehow. Well, I can tell you about the whole lizard Atlantean thing. Lizards did something to Atlantis. Like Atlantis used to be called Thule, THULE, and they had some pretty good technology. They had saucers and everything, and I don't know a lot about it, but Dad, I just did it. It was something. Met the Tibetan monks, the main ones, and they introduced her to the lizards. The lizards can talk, basically, and it's like a full of healing. The first type ones. They told him there's some kind of a base down in on the south pole there. They saw him out, and there's something underground there that the Manhattan magic and everyone found it fast. He was down with this society called the Royal Society too. They droned people in the past. Now, he was so appreciative of the Royal Society because they were basically sneaking around droning people. He was so appreciative of the Royal Society's help and the Royal Lizard's help in helping them find all this technology, this abandoned technology. They started calling the saucers the Royal type the Royal armor, whatever. And this super power, these super people that are supposed to be underground, highly evolved and everything, it's just the stupid lizards. The stupid lizards that can be.
Oh, you mean Alpha and the same, yeah. Yeah.
It's lizards. Like, lizards didn't even know how to turn the technology on. They don't know how to make nothing. They got claws, right? They couldn't use instruments and stuff. They're really dumb and they're really sad about it, and they get really emotional about it.
And just getting back to the Pope scenario, then there's a lot of theories around this Pope nation. And it all happened. The Pope nomination. It all been the plan from the beginning. The family had these I've all been in there so we could get rid of it for some reason. Did you also feel that?
Yep, set up. He was supposed to step down in his prophecy or something. And the new Pope's name somehow translates out to this Patros Romanus guy. Mm-hmm. See, some of the Illuminati people, the heads of certain religions, like, and different ones too, they aren't supposed to like each other. They're kind of united in this thing, and they call themselves the Pharisees, right? And I didn't even know what that was. I thought it was like something to do with pharaohs or something. But they're like, nope, we kind of ensure that religion stays viable by making certain prophecies come true. Right? Like something in New York. That was all intentional.
This is still called Nostradamus thing where apparently Nostradamus is going to show you these powers.
Yeah. They actually start to make sense into these Nostradamus. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, they want the revelations to come true. I was going to think for good at it. Yeah, they losing guys and stuff, but they were doing thing where they were going to put images of different deities in the sky and stuff. That was a host's idea. See, no one would go for that. Like, everybody would know it was some kind of a manipulation, and so they scrapped that plan. They're not going to put pictures of God in the sky.
Alien fly saucers, probably.
Sorry, it just took me today because it had me saying I did think about it again. And we're campaigning against it strongly in the UK for some of us. Chemtrails, why are they doing chemtrails?
Well, they told me before that it contained an antidote to the zombie virus. They have a zombie virus. They have another virus called what do you call it? I forget the virus. They put in the movie the happening. The movie The Happening. That's the suicide virus that happened. All kinds of biological viruses. All kinds. And then they have like counteracting viruses that people hold deal. Because some viruses only affect certain races. And so those races make viruses that will only affect the races that would throw those.
Okay, so the geoengineering and the chemtrails that are taking place at the moment, I mean, see, for example, today in the UK, we had a fantastic glorious sunny day with a fantastic blue sky. The next minute, there's all these planes flying back, spraying all this stuff, the whole sky stuff.
Well, there's a few different things that they've said. They said it contains nanobots, nanoprobes or something. Some of them, they're not little boxes. By tons of light that they can activate and manipulate way through the system. It's like that intelligent test. It's just like that. It's everywhere. Also, it's for the depopulation, but everything is depopulation. They're running killing a bunch of people all at once. They don't want old people. They don't want old people living to be 110 anymore, because they're going to. It's a major problem. They're going to retirement homes at 55.
Yeah.
They're not dying like 70 anymore. They're dying at 110. So, it's costing them a lot of money. Like, even these people's families go.
Costing a lot of our money, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So they're trying to make people die sooner.
Yeah. Okay. So are they actually trying to screen the sun from us, though? Is that part of it?
That is kind of part of it. They said that the nanite things can connect together in midair and make the images, but for whatever they want. And then they also said they wanted to block the sun a little bit because drills are very sensitive to the sun. They said they wanted to block it out actually and have them come up and walk around. They want to coexist with humans.
That's the other thing. Chemtrails is a perfect delivery system to, as you said, you can get the way they can so the perfect delivery system is really people who work against us in the country because it's changing the acidity of the water and everything in the water with things like people. So do it with the do you know anything else? Any entities of the world? I mean, when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about you can do the underground bases and that. Have you seen any military personnel?
Oh yeah.
Navy.
Military bases. They got guards there, but not on the cloning floor. On the cloning floor, it's kind of
so they would know what was going on there.
Well, different floors, you know what's going on in the other floors. They don't have to go to those other floors, and they never.
Do you have a swipe card or some sort of ID?
No, I just open up my eyes. I'm there, right? Rapid movement, stage of sleep.
Okay.
Of course, you're not there. You're in bed.
Sorry, yeah. Okay.
But your consciousness is in the.
Yeah, that works. I mean, everyone else in the world sleeping at the time. The option of having people activate them while they're there. It's kind of confusing and hard to explain, but
I've got it now. Yeah,
it can only be activated if you've got a clone, though, Donald. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
They have to have one of you to zap you into, I guess. Like, I wish I knew more about it, but they wouldn't tell me a lot about it because there must be some way to block the signal, and they didn't want me to know. I even tried. I
believe I was listening to a video on YouTube of this woman Blue Ray, and she did it on my talk with Miles Johnson, and she said that they got to be and I can do that with people. I'm posting on, and they can be chat anywhere in the world. Yeah, on satellite. They got all kinds of stuff on satellite. They got something called a beam. They said they got like a beam from satellite. They can give people cancer. That's nice. They weaponize space out. Everybody's like, oh my God, is Kim going to throw the missile? Is he going to throw the missile? He could blast anywhere in the U.S. right now. He's got a satellite there. So it must be that way. You know, it's got nuke pods on it. It can just drop them. Like, nobody is even. Well, you gotta ask yourself. There's a bunch of people on my friends, right? That did all my information. They said to the government, they say, look what this guy's saying about you guys. Go get him, right? Government does not respond. Then, well, Justin Bieber, little scumbag, he says, somebody out there is saying, I got them pregnant. I'm going to quash this right now. He did it in one day. Put a snap the whip on it, right? Yeah. But I told everything about Justin Bieber is out there and all these other people, right? I write it out, and all these people on my wall are, some of them are fans of these bands. They send it to them, and they say, oh, this guy's saying about you, slandering your name, let's go get him. They get blocked. They block their own fans and ignore it. Oh, man, it's so funny. So then they come back, and like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't believe him. Like, yeah, I wouldn't believe me either. So,
okay, so for anything that you're aware of, that you think you're aware of, it doesn't have actually called enough. It is an entity or anything that actually has to help the human race as a species to actually get over all of this as far as you're aware.
Nope. There's not. Pleiadian, the Pleiadian helpers that are going to help us, they're real big three. They're real big three. The officers are on the land are all the way back engineered by America and Russia, and they're going to drop in and say, hello, we want to be friends and share the light and love. They're carnivorous. They're things.
I've heard this as well before, yeah, okay. So what is there any hope? What is the hope? Is the hope for? What is the hope on as far as you're
the populace had to shut them down. Multiple governments want to be shut down, but they're afraid of what's going to happen to them after they divulge information. So they're using me. They're using me for a scapegoat and saying, "Oh, you can't tell them. You might be proxy guy, right?" So we'll just let it go. If it happens, it happens, and it's the proxy, right? So they're just letting it go. But they're saying that people are going to freak out, start rioting, looting. It's going to be like LA riots worldwide, right? So we just got to keep that from happening because that's what the lizards are about.
Mm-hmm.
How many lizards is there? Hundreds of thousands, millions, tens of thousands? How many could you put a figure on this, right? Underground, I'm not sure how many there are. They got colonies down there. Is there a king or queen of these reptiles? Oh yeah, they have different hierarchies in different regions. Like the ones that live underneath, like Iran, are totally. Well, sometimes they'll have a different kind of variant language. Sometimes they look a little bit different when they evolved in different areas underground. Yeah, they got different leaders and stuff. There's more drill type 1s than anything else. And drill type 3s run them, and they're smarter than the drill type 1s. And they pretty much try to lord over drill type 1s like gods. But there's a lot of type 1s. I don't know, hundreds of thousands or millions, but there's a lot of them. And, well, there's so much of them, they eat everything that's down there so bad that they start to cannibalize on each other. And they don't even care. They're not even race or species loyal. They'll just cannibalize. They don't care. They're
Okay, so Paul, what's your feeling on all of this? As an individual as yourself, who is someone speaking of being so aware of all of this and being so in the middle of all of this, do you have a hope yourself personally? What are you feeling on this?
Oh, yeah.
And what is that hope?
It's all set up. They're going to, they're either going to go to World War III to distract the world from talking about it.
Yeah.
And keep everything going status quo, or they're going to allow it to be shut down. They don't want to go there anymore.
They being who? They being who?
Like different world leaders, like you might have heard, like this Icelandic uprising.
Okay, yeah.
They do. Just control the human guys and vote in our guy, but then they just call them back. I said, hey, guess what? You're here now. You are with us. You're going to take over, and you're going to get killed, and you're going to get razzed. Come back home, blue dot. And then you do that. So he's like, good. So he's there too, some guy. And
so what you're basically saying there, sorry, Donald, what you're basically saying is that the guy that is in control in Iceland is part of this now too, because he's a clone, is that what you're saying?
Oh, he's not a clone, really, but they bring him into the Aryan cloning center, and I think you're arrested, and like, okay, so it works, like, they're not protected by some right? So they can be killed because of the whole, you know. Well, it's not the entire army within this. Like the average army doesn't know anything about this. They just follow us, and they think they're good, and that they're doing things for the better. They're not. They're either hosts or they're being coerced by hosts and lizards and other scumbags. Well, the only thing that's going to stop them is worldwide knowledge, because the populace has to rise up and oust the leaders, do coups, to overthrow their governments, kind of in some places. Some governments are actually good and will turn, right? But somebody else has to take the first step because they're not going to go out of the way because they're cowards.
Okay, so what we tend to go along with on this station is, because of what we've done on radio, is we're going along with the and people who sometimes stand by in a proper physical way.
We have a number of hosts by far. They've told me different percentages. Different countries have different percentages of hosts of girls and deaths.
How do you stand in the UK for interesting now?
In the UK, I'm not sure. Like, there's no way for me to be certain, but with Elizabeth and Charles running stuff there, it's something. They're not local country. They're more themselves.
Yeah, that already, yeah. Yeah. Okay, do you want to come in?
Yeah, where does China come in all this, Donald? Any idea about China?
China is...
That's where all the gold's going, isn't it?
Yes, they have the most gold. They have over years. They've grown more people than all the other nations combined. China really doesn't want this known because China thinks they're going to be ostracized from the rest of the world. They think the other countries are going to start expatriating Chinese people because China has been very, very bad. Not just droning people with the lizards, shipping people's heads and then putting dead Chinese people's consciousnesses in them, running them. And they don't want to be just anybody. They want to be good-looking white people. They need telling people about this. They're going to get them nuked. They're going to get nuked, and somebody's going to nuke or something. And I'm like, well, kill lizards, shut down people, everything goes smooth. And it's pretty. There we go. China's on its way. it's not the people there. Like, I'm not racist or anything. It's the government there. The government is still kind of being run by this guy named Mao Zedong. Mao. Yeah, he's still living on a recorded consciousness on a chip in either a clone or somebody else's head. It's pretty crazy now. When they copied his consciousness on the chip, they only had Mark 1 clones, and it's way more side effects then. So when they recorded his consciousness onto that chip, it was with Mark 1 technology. Now after they make Mark 2s, they can't go back and take that recording and upgrade it to Mark 2. So he's stuck as Mark 1 clone to our world, which is even worse than Mark 2. And Mark 2 is pretty bad itself.
Have you heard of David Wood?
Yes.
Okay, can you understand any of those?
I didn't know about Fulford, okay? But
Yeah.
the David Wilcock guy,
Yeah.
I don't have his own internet. And I'm like, dude, bro, stop. I hear you talk about it. No, I let her know I'm going right now. Oh, we shut his ass down. Well, no response. And then a few minutes after that, I was talking to the clone there. He's been there since he was a little kid. He was a molestation. Oh yeah, he was a molestation victim. And then just as a reward for him being such a good little boy, they let him have his show and talk his stuff. Like if he was to probably talk the truth about lizards, he probably will, as an example to the others. But he is there. He told me strictly, don't mess me. I don't know how to. And he didn't like me in real life, really, because he was like threatening me there and stuff. Fulford is supposed to be down with the Japanese Yakuza side of the Illuminati.
Yeah.
I didn't know if he was there or not because I hadn't seen him. They brought him out like months ago, and he's like talking to me about this and that, and I'm like, dude, you're a traitor. You're a traitor in human rights. Get out of my face. And he's like, they just want to peacefully coexist. We can fix this all. I'm like, dude, you better get out of here. I'm at least and I don't know. He's one. He's he's like one of these hitters, like the Jesse Ventura guy. He's there too. It's bad. Jesse Ventura was there when I was there as a little kid in the pink tights.
Do you want to say anything about your guy?
Okay, I want to bring him up. He knows all about it. He knows he was things. He knows that there's more. He knows there's no other dimension. He's just saying that to mislead or mislead people.
Why?
Because he likes the place. He's a simple of it. He makes a living. He stays safe.
He's mentioned Elizabeth. Do you know that? Yeah.
Oh yeah, they talked there. Yeah. The strange thing was with him, they didn't bring him out to talk to me like they did with Fuller and stuff. They put a picture of his face up on the big screen to talk to me, and I could never tell. Because they people and I don't know. I'm even getting is there because I was on a video screen. I don't know why I was on a video screen. That still puzzles me, but they say he's down with them and everything, and well, let's say I'm 99% sure because that whole interview with him and Jesse Ventura, where that was all, it was all staged. They talked about how it was going to go at home center, how it is going to unfold, and the whole program. So it's into it. Yeah, Jesse Ventura,
she may only take maybe a little bit. She could, you know, so to make it way wizards and magicians, and she could heal some of your skin and stuff. And then have someone else, oh, you're an idiot, that's not true. And then he'll be like, well, yeah, he did look kind of stupid. He looked like he's mentally handicapped or something. And then people will tell teacher or else who also attends. And they'll say, oh, this guy is the real deal.
Yeah, that's my next. Yeah.
But not just because they want to attend. I think if you want to attend the more, they're made on money or it's like nothing. They can leave in real life. That's really how it is. Like they, it's pretty sick. Yeah.
I mean, we don't know it. Didn't say anything to him. Hospital. Apparently, recently we've had Lizzie going. We've had something with various problems. And I mean, what's your opinion on all about it when we hear so-called royals going into hospital? Like Queen Elizabeth is going into the National Health Service Hospital, and we see her coming out, and we see her coming out with a nurse with a satanic belt around her waist. What does all that mean? What's your opinion on that?
But okay. I used to think
her. For a start, is that actually her, or is that a clone going in there and coming out?
It's unknown. She could be actually a dead, reanimated clone right now, or she could be real. It's hard to tell, like, just by looking at them in the face. You'd have to be really familiar with them, because the skin is pretty much the same.
When you say you've met her in these places, in these ways she's been, that you've met her, that is the real her, yeah?
At the cloning centers?
Where, yeah.
That would be the clone, wouldn't it? No, that would be the clone of her. That's an
clone of her. Clone. So you're always seeing the clone of her, basically, yeah?
Yeah.
Whenever we see her in public, in any public place, that's all the real her, do you think, or could that be a clone?
Oh, it's a clone sometimes. Right. Sometimes even musicians do concerts and use clones, like Beyonce.
Really?
Beyonce making her funny faces and stuff, and almost popping a vein up the side of her head in her concert there. She's a clone there. She's doing that on Beyonce. They want that now. She's doing that on purpose to show you, hey, something's wrong. Get this. I'm not going to tell you because then I'll get killed. But,
so the next meeting. But when you say going in hospital complication of health, my first reaction is, one, if they have a health problem, why are they going to hospital? They've got everything in, wherever they are, wherever they're in, they've probably got everything to help them anyway. Why are they going to help them? It is a propaganda thing, the whole thing of them going in hospital, maybe 60 people suffer like this hospital like us. I mean, is it them actually going in there? Is what I'm asking.
Sometimes it's a clone. Sometimes it is them going into there because they need to get a reclone. They have to go into the next place.
Why would they go to the hospital though? Why would they do that in cloning center?
We don't know.
Yeah, but why would they actually go to a hospital? I think this whole an NHS hospital thing is a total load of rubbish.
They're going to clone it after and reclone every 6 months to a year. They would like this David hospital somewhere. The nurse down there, they call the police, the scary police. It's pretty commonplace. They go in because the brain will degrade over time. It's like they had Eminem on my video there, and he was talking like he had just had a stroke, slurred speech and everything. It was because, well, they did that intentionally as a joke. He needed to be recloned or go into his next clone. They're trying to put it out there in the public now because
they might be killed. So raising need to take birth. I mean, stuff is so complex with technologies and stuff, and they all intermix and mingle. It starts getting a little weird sounding, right? And so I gotta try to stick to the basics to tell people about this, because once people go, yeah, okay, that's true about the cloning, then everybody's gonna know that the lizards are real, the ghosts are real, and everything's real.
Why did the Queen of the class go to the hospital recently? Some simple problems. I mean, and she had to cancel tours to Rome to see the Pope. All this to me just kind of like makes me feel so uncomfortable.
Well, the pedophile investigation stuff, that kind of threw them for a loop. Like, they knew that they were hung up on it, but they didn't. I guess this Jimmy Savile guy had a lot of evidence against him. Like, when I first started writing my letter there, I told everybody, yeah, they're a bunch of pedophiles, super pedophiles. And people were like, oh, you should be talking about them. But I came back later, he said, okay, so maybe you're right. Yeah. It was funny. I got all kinds of friends on my friends list. So Elizabeth going in the hospital like that, and different people playing sick stuff, they can go into hospital and not be bothered by investigators, right? Because they're too ill to be questioned. Like,
Right.
It's just like when, you know, the Vatican had that sex party, and that 13-year-old went missing in there, and her father rounded up everybody, and they go in the Vatican Square there, and they're like, "Where's my daughter? She went here, didn't come out. Where's my daughter? Where's my daughter? Where's my daughter?" They stood there for days. I don't know how long. They sat there and waited. The Pope sat over on his balcony to answer. The police did go and the Pope asked him. Nobody did anything, and the people got old, wet, went on. Well, still nobody knows about that girl, but they killed that girl down in the basement.
Okay, so in a way, from the fact that the Queen went to hospital at that point, even it was fake, it wasn't her, how do we know? And the whole thing was done to create sympathy for them, so that the sheep will think, under this, put the poor Queen ill, and they take this distraction from what's actually happening out there. And the fact that you actually didn't know you're actually in Canada. Do you actually know about Canada?
Yeah, I've spoken to him. I was trying to tell him about the residential school stuff.
Yeah.
There's a discrepancy in his evidence and stuff, and I was going to clear it up for him.
And what was that?
They said all these native kids, they remember Philip and Elizabeth and other people showing up on certain dates.
Yeah.
These were very scary times for them, and they burned these dates into their brains. So they remember future. The problem is, these dates don't line up with visits to Canada from where the thing is, they weren't really there. They were homes in Canada. They were in England. When the Army homes here in Canada, what they would do, they would take for a picnic, or group of 5 kids. They would take one kid in the woods, and these kids were molested all the time. So they would bring them into the woods, and the kids would think, "Oh, I'm just going to get molested again." And they would think that was just part of the whole thing, right? But when they tied them up, they would strangle them, wash them in eyes until they died. If they gave them some kind of sexual item. And then the kids wouldn't go back to their beds in the dorms or in the residences, and the kids would say, "I remember this forever when I was a kid."
One of the instances is that the 10 kids didn't actually come back at all. They just were never seen again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were saying that they were killed, basically. Yeah.
There was a bunch of that, but sometimes it was just a few out of the group that were brought into the woods, and then they just, yeah, but some people, the kids that were in that group, got returned to the school, just, I've never heard of or seen those kids again.
Yeah, any of those kids gone to a facility on the country?
It's possible, lizards. People have been sneaking kids, seeing lizards kids for
Did you mention any reply of Kenneth on it?
Yeah, he.
Or did he think it was just going so far left field that he just couldn't believe it?
That could have been. He his position. Like he's got his thing all lined up and prepared. He can't start talking about clones and lizards now and all up, right? Like he might able to take them all down with what he had, but
I know you have talked about the victim farm thing. I know he's definitely mentioned that, by the way.
Yeah, I told some of that. Yeah, but Queen Elizabeth and Ratzinger are not in prison yet, so you know, I don't think. And he won his court case and everything. Nothing happened. So, you know.
So you see, my view on all of this again is that people like Ratzinger got into a lot of people are just like questioning the fact that he's a lot of people mistreat the movement, shall I say? Yeah, we're on a good point here because it's falling down. And my way that he was always meant to be in power, even with his background with the Nazi side of him. The whole thing's been orchestrated. He was always meant to be there anyway. And the fact that he's resigned now has been orchestrated to a certain extent in some way too. I'll speak about what this thing that I've said it a few times on my show. And I just feel sometimes we're still being orchestrated to some extent. I don't know if you've got any views on that, but it's just the way I feel.
Yeah, it's all set up. From the first and I guess it's the part where the last pope comes in.
Yeah, the Black Pope?
Well, there's another one. There's the head of the Jesuits is the Black Pope. And then they got this new pope here, and now they're saying that he's a Black Pope as well. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, because I would like to believe that within the Illuminati, the two factors that came over the hundreds of years, the Second World War, the Russian Revolution, the Zionist Jews, and the Odin alien race of the Fourth Reich, if you like. But just all together.
You're right.
That makes sense to you.
Yes, you're right, but there's more factions though. They just even the Chinese Triad faction, the Japanese Yakuza faction. Then there's all the other governments, and they pretty much, some of them are allied in the same faction, some of them aren't. There's a bunch of different factions, but they were all collected into it, and most of them don't even want to be there, and they're all hoping I do something. Like, they're telling me that I'm being slack, saying you're not doing it. You're not for me. You do there. But sing a song on camera, so I don't want to do something.
I don't know what you mean. How do you do it? First, what you said, you're younger than I know you said, but I've been interested in what they probably trying to could do. Don't do.
They those like that, like they made all the songs, right? Like you hear about the songs that are country. Was there people wants to get out and talk and find all sorts. So he'll go out and say, yeah, but this technology, what we can do, right? And then they're all it was like they were trying to show off by showing what they had done. And I was never, right?
Yeah.
I was never always trying to deceive them until the day I destroyed them. And but I think being a friend. So then they're like, here's what we have. When they were showing your game, and knows it is what we have is. And I showing you all this. And with how good I did all stuff, people wanted me to give them advice on political issues. Because they said that I thought outside the box, and that I gave them an option. They had to be thought of in that like a certain situation, so I thought outside the box. So I was talking to them all. They're all asking me different points for advice and stuff. A little bit, and I would give it, and it got worse and worse. It was like the songs. I would give them good ideas for stuff, and they would do it, and they just kept on coming back, and everybody's getting annoyed with Elizabeth's
croak at the cleaner because she's talking all the time. So then Vladimir will stand up. Yes, do this and do that. Oh man, Medvedev's there too, and China and Russia are the worst too. China and Russia are the worst too. They think if everything goes my way, that they're going to be like villainized.
Some believe that we hear about all these so-called problems between certain countries with regards to Russia, America, Great Britain, China, whatever. And a lot of us think that the plural as well, there isn't any fighting, they're all in it together. It's all pretend, all these so-called disputes between these countries.
You're right for the most part, but then sometimes problems will spring up, and they can spring up so easy.
But do they work together mainly, though, would you say, as a rule, those people?
Oh, totally.
One big thing, yeah?
Yeah, but see, all the celebrities there, they all show off for the celebrities so bad. It's like if one Asian leader there makes fun of another Asian leader there and makes them look stupid in front of like Brangelina, you know, they get pissed and they start saber rattling, they call it, and I'll do this to you, I'll do this to you. We have this, we'll use this, right? And then it's a big thing, and then it's a big drama there. You got to talk it down. The richest people in the world are the heads of religious sects, right? Because they've been getting donations for thousands of years. They've been getting the gold and jewels for thousands of years. Those are the richest people. So basically, they buy people. They buy people's loyalty and ensure their loyalty with fear of man-made hell, death after death. It's really good start from talking, but since they said they were going to do that to me anyway, I got nothing to lose because when we're going on with the Jesus talk, trying to say I was Jesus, there was a bunch of people there that were saying, well, we're Luciferians, and Lucifer wants us to get Jesus and torture him in the next century, and we'll get as a devotion to our God, and we'll get good luck and good fortune for doing it. And they call it fleecing the lamb. So then I was kind of worried.
So with regards to a lot of us are being told that if a lot of us sort of emphasize this positive energy within us, and we try and counter giving us this energy. Have you got any views on that?
Good intentions, world on good intentions, but to disrupt people sitting there and going, I hope everything works out.
So it's all about action. It's all about getting out there, doing something changes and turn it all around, which is what we're trying to do with Come On Radio. Right.
I wonder, Donald, here's a good question for you. Now, you talked about the Grille reptilians and you talked about the Illuminati, but what about the outside influences of ET from other places that are actually visiting it, interacting with our governments? Do they have a say in the matter?
Oh yeah, they say that there is something out there, but I'm not sure if there is. They showed me Vril Type 3 looking thing. It was brown. It had 4 bucks. I don't know if that's just a sliced Vril Type 3, like to look a little bit different.
Well, in 2001, they had the press tour in Washington, they had a big UFO conference, and Sergeant Stone said that he had catalogued, clearance. He had catalogued the American government had catalogued 57 different types of alien species that were visiting or been to the Earth. Or whatever, outside of the dimensions or God, different
thing with that is sometimes they get people there as clones and they try to mess them up. They say, look, we have this turkey thing. It's a turkey, it's an involved turkey. It comes from the Orion Nebula, whatever. It's just a slice thing with someone's consciousness barely running it coherently, right? Yeah. They have there's another thing. There's an evolved kind of turtle called Kappa, lives underneath Japan. They're protecting them there because I don't know. they wrote about them all in the old woodblock prints and stuff. But they're not as smart as lizards, and they're not a threat at all. They're just they're not parasitic. They're uh, uh, they're evolved turtles, I guess. Like I never talked about them because they're not really relevant to relevant, but like the stuff that I've told people about is hard to fathom enough. Doesn't add any evolved turtles. Like
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
You mentioned a lot of people, this Benjamin Fulford for one has been saying this, that the tsunami that hit Japan was caused by a nuclear bomb that was planted under the seabed deliberately.
Yep, I was there when it was going down. Kim Jong-il wanted to get Japan before he died. He always wanted to get Japan. Korea's Japan, like September or something. Japan always wanted to invade England. Anyway, so it's an ancient hatred. Kim Jong-il wanted to get Japan before he died. He actually wanted to nuke them, but you have to have permission from the Illuminati to do big things like this. And he saw it. And before.
So it wasn't nuke, right? That's what you're saying it was.
I'm not sure if it was a nuke or if it was a heart controlled by their country or whatever, but they caused it. Kim Jong-il caused it without permission. Asked, can I do this to Japan? And they said, no, you can't. That'll cause too much destruction in the world, all nuclear stuff. No. Host has the nuclear on there. He did it anyway.
Fukushima, where it was built, was so like danger zone anyway. Was that all on street too?
No, they just only have so many places to put the things. Like you might notice that Kim died right after that. He had an aneurysm. He was clone, but he shot heroin. And he got his electrical current put to his clone, and he had an aneurysm. His son takes over. He doesn't care. Kim is still kicking around as a dead clone. He was pretty crazy. He's a pretty crazy person.
Yeah.
I'm not sure everything that he said.
He said he was actually, as you said, was the group that he was supposed to be. I don't think he was with that. I think he was with the White Dragon Society. They were always the other ones.
There's something called the Uni.
Yeah, I do.
They're the most powerful Yakuza guys, and they lord over the other Yakuza guys.
But he worked for Forbes magazine, and he ended up in Japan as one of the main guys there, and he's done all this digging, and people have entrusted him. That's how he's got this high-tech information. And he said that the tsunami was going to happen and Mount Fujiyama. He forecasted them before they actually happened, so either they have prior knowledge to it.
China doesn't like how advanced Japan is. Japan's infrastructure is way better than theirs and everything. China is very jealous.
The story Jimmy Fulton put out there was that from the Second World War, Japan wanted their money back. It was trillions of dollars, and he wouldn't give them that back. And he said, keep on about it, we're going to do something about it. That's the story Benjamin Fulton put across. They
But people kids roll on
Mm.